Hi everyone, in this video we will study models of obligation, must, have to and should. You can find this lesson in your course book Speak Out Intermediate Unit 4 Part 1 Grammar section. First of all, we will talk about strong obligations that are necessary or important with must and have to, and weak obligations that are good ideas with should. Following this, we will have 2 parts of practices, and finally we will finish with suggestions for further study and practice. Let's start with must in affirmative sentences. Must expresses a strong obligation or necessity. It is often used for a personal obligation. Here are the examples. I must phone my mom. It's her birthday today. It is a personal obligation. Another example, we must finish the project on time. This is also a personal obligation. Must is also used in written rules, and here is an example for this. All students must have their identities with them. This is the school rule. Must in negative sentences has quite a different meaning. We use must not or mustn't to talk about what is not permitted. Here are the examples. You must not be late to class. It is not allowed. It means, and the student mustn't smoke anywhere in the building. It is forbidden. Question forms with must are not very common and sound quite formal. We usually use do I have to instead. Here is an example question. Do I have to hand in my task by Tuesday? Have to in affirmative sentences, we use have to and has to for the third person singular to express obligation. It shows us that the obligation comes from outside the speaker. Here are the examples. They have to be at work at 8. The boss is very strict and she has to wear a white shirt. It's a company rule. Have to in negative sentences also has a quite different meaning. Don't have to or doesn't have to means it's not necessary, but if you want, you can do it. Here are the examples. You don't have to stay at school after 1 p.m. It means if you want, you can stay at school too. And another example, Jack doesn't have to wear a tie in the office, but he likes dressing formally. So this sentence means if Jack wants dressing formally, then he can wear a tie in the office because it is not a rule. To note that must can only be used to talk about present or future obligation. To talk about a past obligation, we use had to. To see in an example, we had to stay at home for the weekend because of the virus. In spoken grammar, have got to and has got to has the same meaning as have to and has to in the context of obligation, and is used a lot in spoken English. That means that have got to and has got to is more common in spoken English. Here are the examples. She's got to renew her passport and they've got to pay the rent soon. When it comes to should and shouldn't, we use it to talk about weak obligation, not as strong as must or have to. Here are the examples. You should have breakfast before the class. You shouldn't sleep late at night not to be sleepy during the lectures. It's a bad idea. Also, we have ought to, which has the same meaning as should. Here is an example. You ought to send her a mail. It has the same meaning as you should send her a mail. To compare must, have to and should, they all have the same structure. They are all followed by verb infinitive, but when it comes to the meaning, there is a slight difference. In the first one, I must dress smartly in the office means I have decided that I must do so. In the second one, I have to dress smartly means this is what my boss wants. And in the last one, I should dress smartly in the office, means it's a good idea. Actually, often you can use must and have to with the same meaning, but as I said before, there is just a slight difference between them. To compare the negative forms, mustn't and don't or doesn't have to, the first one is you mustn't wear a uniform in the office, means it is not allowed. And in the next one, you don't have to wear a uniform in the office. It's not necessary, but you can do it if you want. As you see, they have quite different meanings. Let's practice what we have learned so far. Please pause the video here to underline the correct alternatives in the dialogue. Here are the answers for you to check. And in the second practice, you will rewrite the sentences by using the words in brackets. Please pause here too. And here are your answers. If you want to do further study, you can go to Supplementary A-Level Pack, Unit 4, page 61 and 62, exercises A, B, and C. You can also visit my English Lab Speak Out Intermediate, Unit 4, Part 1, Grammar section. And for further practice, you can click on the link in Edmodo. After you study Modals of Obligation, please make a list or record your sentences about the obligations we have during the quarantine in Turkey. That's all for now. Thanks for your listening.